The story of a girl from Moab. Long ago the judges ruled Israel. During their rule, there was a time in the land when there was not enough food to eat. A man named Elimelech left Bethlehem in Judah and moved to the country of Moab. He took his wife and his 2 sons with him. His wife was named Naomi, and his 2 sons were named Mahlon and Kilion. These people were from the Ephrathah district around Bethlehem in Judah. The family traveled to Moab and lived there. Later, Naomi's husband, Elimelech, died. So only Naomi and her 2 sons were left. These sons married women from Moab. The name of one wife was Orpah. The name of the other wife was Ruth. Naomi and her sons lived in Moab about 10 years. Then Mahlon and Kilion also died. So Naomi was left alone without her husband or her 2 sons. While Naomi was in Moab, she heard that the Lord had taken care of his people. He had given food to them in Judah. So Naomi got ready to leave Moab and go back home. The wives of Naomi's sons also got ready to go with her. So they left the place where they had lived. And they started back on the way to the land of Judah. But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back home. Each of you go to your own mother's house. You have been very kind to me and to my sons who are now dead. I hope the Lord will also be kind to you in the same way. I hope the Lord will give you another home and a new husband." Then Naomi kissed the women. And they began to cry out loud. Her daughters-in-law said to her, "No. We will go with you to your people." But Naomi said, "My daughters, go back to your own homes. Why do you want to go with me? I cannot give birth to more sons to give you new husbands. So go back to your own homes. I am too old to have another husband. But even if I had another husband tonight and if I had more sons, it wouldn't help. Would you wait until the babies were grown into men? Would you live for so many years without husbands? Don't do this thing. My life is much too sad for you to share. This is because the Lord is against me." The women cried together again. Then Orpah kissed Naomi goodbye, but Ruth held on to her. Naomi said, "Look, your sister-in-law is going back to her own people and her own gods. Go back with her." Ruth stays with Naomi. But Ruth said, "Don't ask me to leave you. Don't beg me not to follow you. Every place you go, I will go. Every place you live, I will live. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. And where you die, I will die. And there I will be buried. I ask the Lord to punish me terribly if I do not keep this promise, only death will separate us." Naomi saw that Ruth had made up her mind to go with her. So Naomi stopped arguing with her. Naomi and Ruth went on until they came to the town of Bethlehem. When the 2 women entered Bethlehem, all the people became very excited. The women of the town said, "Is this Naomi?" But Naomi told the people, "Don't call me Naomi. Call me Mara, because God all-powerful has made my life very sad. When I left, I had all I wanted. But now, the Lord has brought me home with nothing. So why should you call me Naomi when the Lord has spoken against me? God all-powerful has given me much trouble." So Naomi and her daughter-in-law Ruth, the woman from Moab, came back from Moab. They came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Ruth meets Boaz. Now there was a rich man living in Bethlehem whose name was Boaz. Boaz was one of Naomi's close relatives from Elimelech's family. One day Ruth, the woman from Moab, said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields. Maybe someone will be kind and let me gather the grain he leaves in his field." Naomi said, "Go, my daughter." So Ruth went to the fields. She followed the workers who were cutting the grain. And she gathered the grain that they had left. It just so happened that the field belonged to Boaz. He was a close relative from Elimelech's family. When Boaz came from Bethlehem, he spoke to his workers, "The Lord be with you." And the workers answered, "May the Lord bless you." Then Boaz spoke to his servant who was in charge of the workers. He asked, "Whose girl is that?" The servant answered, "She is the Moabite woman who came with Naomi from the country of Moab." She said, "Please let me follow the workers and gather the grain that they leave on the ground." She came and has remained here. From morning until just now, she has stopped only a few moments to rest in the shelter. Then Boaz said to Ruth, "Listen, my daughter. Stay here in my field to gather grain for yourself. Do not go to any other person's field. Continue following behind my women workers. Watch to see which fields they go to and follow them. I have warned the young men not to bother you. When you are thirsty, you may go and drink. Take water from the water jugs that the servants have filled." Then Ruth bowed low with her face to the ground. She said to Boaz, "I am a stranger. Why have you been so kind to notice me?" Boaz answered her, "I know about all the help you have given to Naomi, your mother-in-law. You helped her even after your husband died. You left your father and mother and your own country. You came to this nation where you did not know anyone. The Lord will reward you for all you have done. You will be paid in full by the Lord, the God of Israel. You have come to him as a little bird finds shelter under the wings of its mother." Then Ruth said, "You are very kind to me, sir. You have said kind words to me, your servant. You have given me hope. And I am not even good enough to be one of your servants." At mealtime Boaz told Ruth, "Come here. Eat some of our bread. Here, dip your bread in our vinegar." So Ruth sat down with the workers. Boaz gave her some roasted grain. Ruth ate until she was full, and there was some food left over. Ruth rose and went back to work. Then Boaz told his servants, "Let her gather even around the bundles of grain. Don't tell her to go away. Drop some full heads of grain for her. Let her gather that grain, and don't tell her to stop." So Ruth gathered grain in the field until evening.